Hi everyone, welcome to this session. So in the last video I gave you the homework, and what was the homework? Basically you have to write the code for finding the length of the linked list, and I gave you the hint that the code is going to be very similar like the print function. Okay, so what we have to do, so suppose this is your linked list 1, 2, let's say 3 and 7 and let's say 8. So if this is your linked list, so what will be the output of the length function? So length function will give me the output 5 because there are 5 elements. Now if the linked list is let's say 1 and 2, then what will be the output? So it is containing 2 elements, so the length function will give me output 2. Okay, so now how we can write the code for this function, length function? So what we have to do, we have to follow the code that we have to write, that we wrote in the print function. So this is basically your head. Okay, so what we will do, we will take a temporary pointer. So this temporary pointer is pointing towards the head of the linked list. So initially let's take a variable count. So count will give me how many elements are present. So initially the count is 0. Initially the linked list is empty. Okay, so what you have to do, we have to iterate. So the next of 8 is actually null. Okay, so the value of count is 0. So let's check. So check temp is equals to null, no. Then what we'll do, so count plus plus and move temp. So temp will point here. Now again check. So temp is equals to null, no. So count plus plus and move ahead. So temp will come here. Again check. So 3 equals to null, no. So count plus plus and move ahead. So temp will come here. Now check. So is this node equals to null? No. So count plus plus and move ahead. So temp will come here. Now check. So is this node equals to null? No. So count plus plus and move ahead. Now temp is equals to null. Yes. You will stop and basically you will return the value of count, and the value of count is 5. So basically you will return 5. Okay, very simple. Let's take one more example. So suppose your linked list is let's say 10, 52, 7, minus 5 and 3 and then null. Okay, so this is your linked list. Again, so this is your head. What we will do, we will create a temporary pointer like this one. Okay, so we will create a temporary pointer, and initially what is the value of count? So count is 0. We will assume that initially my linked list is empty. Okay, then what you have to check? So check whether this node, check whether the node to which temp is pointing is null or not. No, it is not. So I will do count plus plus and I will move ahead. Temp equals next of temp. So remove temp from here. Simple. Now check whether this node 52 is equals to null or not. No, it is not. So again we will do count plus plus and we will move ahead. Now again check. So check 7 with null. So this node 7, and it, so when I am writing 10, so this 10 actually means 10, and it also has the next pointer. So if the address of this node is 100, then 10 and 100 will be stored. Okay, but this is difficult to explain, so I'm explaining in this fashion. Okay, now check. So when I'm saying check 7 with null, I'm not checking data 7 with null. I am actually checking the node 7, and basically let's say its address is 200. So 7 and 200. So let's say its address is 300. Okay, so temp is pointing towards this node. So temp is actually containing 300, address 300. So I am checking this address, or you can say I am checking this complete node with this null. I am not checking the data 7 only. Okay, I am checking the complete node, and by complete node I mean the address. Okay, so I am checking this address 300 with the null. So again this count will become 3, count plus plus. Again move ahead. So now this time check minus 5 with null, no. Count plus plus, move ahead. Then again I will check 3 with null, again count plus plus, move ahead. Now this time temp is null, so as soon as the temp reaches null, what I will do, I will stop and I will return count, and count is 5. So this will be my output. Okay, So the code is going to be very similar to the print function. So now let us write the code. Okay. So what will be the return type of the function? So the return type will be integer, the length. Okay, so the name of the function is length. What it will take? It will take linked list as input, and by linked list I mean the head of the linked list. If you know the head of the linked list, you know the complete linked list. Then what we have to do? So you have two options, whether you want to create temporary pointer or you just can iterate with the help of head pointer. It is your choice. Okay, so for example, I am not creating any temporary pointer. I am just iterating with the help of head pointer. So what will happen? You will just write like this. So while head exists, what you have to do? Count plus plus, and you have to take a variable count which is initially 0. So count is the total number of nodes present in your linked list. Okay, so I am taking head by value. Okay, we have to take by value and not by reference. So initially the total number of elements is 0. While head exists, what you are doing? Count plus plus and move ahead. So for moving head, head equals next of head, and finally what you will do? You will return count. And this is the complete code that you have to write. Okay, so one thing, do not get confused. So what is how I am reading this line? While head exists, it is same as, you can also write like this, while head is not equals to null. Okay, both are same. You can write it like this, or you can simply write while head exists. It is your choice. Okay, so how to read this line? While head exists, that means while head is not equals to null, what you are doing? Count plus plus and move ahead. So for moving head, head equals next of head, and finally you will return the count. Okay, very simple. Now let us call this function. Okay, so let's remove this thing. So this is inserting at tail. So once my data is ready, what you have to do? We have to call the function. Okay, so let us print what is the length of the linked list. So I have to pass head. Okay, so let's test our code. So the data is, let's say, 10, 45, 68, 32 and -1. So what should be my output? My output should be 4. Okay, so 4 is the output. Let's test our code one more time. So this time, let's see, the data is 50 and -1. So what should be my output? My output should be 1, because there is only one node. Okay, so the data is 1. Now let's test it one more time. -1. So what should be my output? Basically my linked list is empty, so output should be 0. So the output is 0. Okay. Now one last thing. So what is the time complexity of this length function? Okay. So what is the time complexity? So if there are n number of nodes, so this is your head. Now suppose there are n number of nodes present in your linked list, then what we are doing? We are simply traversing the linked list. Okay, so we are simply traversing the linked list, and the linked list is containing n nodes, so the time complexity of this length function is big O of n. Okay, so this is the time complexity of this function. So if you have any doubt in this question, you can ask me. Okay, so this is all from my side. I will see you in the next video. Okay, so your homework. So what you have to do next? So suppose this is your linked list 10, 12, 14 and 50. So this is your linked list and the indexes are 0. So these are the indexes 0, 1, 2, 3. So in reality these indexes does not exist, but for the sake of understanding the problem, so these are your indexes 0, 1, 2 and 3, just like array. So what you have to do, you have to write a function print ith node. Okay, print ith node. You have to complete this function print ith node. What it will return? So it will return me the node. It will return the node. So node star, and it will take head as input. node star head, and it will take index also. Okay, you will write the code. So what you have to do, so for example, if I tell you print the node present at index 2, so what should be your output? Your output should be 14. Okay, so for index 2, if the value of I is 2, your output should be 14. Now if I told you print the node present at index 0, so what should be your output? Your output should be 10. Okay, so you can update this function. So instead of returning the node star and printing inside the main, what you can do, you can change the return type. You can make the return type void, and you can just simply print your answer here also. Okay, so it is your choice whether you want to return the node and then inside the main you want to print the data of the node. So node arrow data. It is your choice. You can print the data inside the main, or you can also print inside this function. The return type will be void in that case. Okay, so it is your choice. Now one case that you have to handle here is, so for example, print the 7th node. So basically 7th node does not exist. Okay, so 7th node does not exist because my linked list is containing only 4 elements, so the maximum index can be 3. So if the index is not valid, then you have to print -1. Okay, so for example, if the index is, let's say, -2, so obviously -2 index does not exist, then also in that case you have to print -1. So I hope you understood the question. Okay, so this is your homework. I will discuss the solution in the next video, but I really hope you guys will be able to solve this one. Okay, so I will see you in the next video. Okay, until then, bye bye and take care.